We will praise your name, O Amun-Ra, for it is good. Umoja, unity. We shall strive to maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. Kuji Chagalia. Ujima, collective work and responsibility. We shall build and maintain our community together. Our brothers and sisters' problems shall be ours to solve together. Nia, purpose. We shall make our collective vocation the building and development of our community and the restoration of our people to their traditional greatness. And together we say, Imani, faith. We shall believe with all our hearts in our Creator, our people, and the righteousness and victory of our struggle. Amun-Ra. Kneeling pads have been laid in front for those who would like to come to altar for prayer. And you are welcome to be seated. And as the lights come down, we will prepare. Thank you, Julia. Thank you. Oh, it's okay, baby. Thank you. So as we come together here today in this sacred space, Wose, we give thanks to you, Most High. We give thanks first and foremost for our awareness of you, your existence, and your presence in our lives. We give thanks for our awareness that we are one with you, the reality, the truth of our oneness with you, and the power that we hold as a result of that union and that blessed relationship. We give thanks to you, Most High, for this community, for the resources that are brought in today. May they multiply multifold. May we continue to receive more that will help us to grow the work that we do here in the community and out in the world. Most High, keep us strong of mind and body, spirit. Help us be healthy in all ways possible so that we will be able to continue the work, both on building up ourselves as spiritual beings and building up this community to assist in the further spiritual growth of those out in the greater community. We give thanks for the love that we've experienced today here in this space, and we know that any challenges that we face in our daily lives are no true challenges. We know that the only real power in this world is the power of God, and we focus on that power, and we rest in the knowing of our own connection to that power, and for that we give thanks. We ask you to guide us in our work. Help us always do the best we can. Utilize the resources that you have given us wisely so that we may continue to be open to receive even more and more to help us, again, continue to grow this community. We ask you to watch over the children of Ile-Omade. Watch over all of those who support this community, who are here on a regular basis or who are just thinking about us in a positive way because they're proud of and understand the power associated with, the strength associated with, the greatness and importance of the work that we do. We ask that you continue to encircle us. Help us to keep our minds open to grow our understanding of our faith, and help us to love ourselves enough to be gentle with ourselves as we're in this great process of growth. We send our words out into the universe, and we know because of the power of our words, because of our hekah, because of our awareness of our connection with the Most High, that those words cannot return to us void. And we anchor them in the universe by saying Ashe, 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 Amun-Ra.
Maratep, Jose. Welcome back to me.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Yeah, so I was doing some serious overtime duty this past week. For those that do not know, I don't travel a lot. I don't have any place to go. And I'm out of money. Oh, there are plenty of places to go. They just ain't free. So before we had kids, we used to be some significant travelers, and our travels base are found them around the country. That's what we do. So for those who don't know, I am the director of the school, and a few years ago, we began taking kids on out-of-state trips. So we've gone to D.C. This is our second time in D.C. We went to D.C. 3 years ago, Atlanta 2 years ago, and so I took about 15 kids, 4 other adults, and we took the plane to D.C. Sunday night, and we just got back yesterday morning. And it is my intent to run them into the ground, which I do. So we're up at 7 o'clock in the morning, out the door at 8:15, maybe 8:30 at the latest. We get back in maybe 10, 11, 12, who knows. So pretty much, we, She wouldn't get that. But she said, I leave you with many things. A faith in each other, and some other things that she laid out. But one of the things that stood out for me is she says, I leave you hope. That's a long one. I'm just giving you one portion. She says, I leave you hope. Tomorrow, a new Negro, unhindered by race, taboos, and shackles, will benefit from more than 330 years of ideas, and we talked and had an idea, we're going to do that, and this is not that message. I had a dream. This is no, I'm not being sarcastic. I really had an actual dream. It was an actual dream, real dream. For those who are, if you've gone to college, I don't know, I've talked to a few friends, and this dream is a common dream / nightmare that is frequent. So it wasn't just me. I talked to a few folks that seem like kind of dreams. And in these dreams I have, and I didn't stop having them until about maybe 5 years ago. I've been in college since '91, so it's been a while. But it's a common theme in a dream. And in a dream, I exist or emerge, and I realize it's finals week. Today I have a final exam for a class that I forgot I was enrolled in. The semester is over. I enrolled in the class. I have never gone to a class. I don't know where the class is located. I don't know the teacher. I don't know the book. I know nothing. So I'm scrambling around the campus trying to go to the bookstore. It's closed, and trying to find a book for it. And where's the syllabus? And I'm trying to read and run to the class and try to find where the class is. So the dream is kind of like that. So that's like dreams. It's nightmare. There's no dragons in it, but it's kind of. So this dream I had, I was doing a message, and I had written it. I woke up in the morning. I don't know why. I woke up late, so I was late coming to Woolsey. I haven't done the message yet. I got to go write something. I'm running around my house and I find some books of Hosea. I can pull something, find inspiration from the Hosea, get something. So I'm getting my clothes, coming around. I get in the car, I come to Woolsey, and Woolsey is this huge place. It's huge. And I'm late. So I'm like, oh, this is the right address, 824 Harley Street. And I look up and I'm just amazed. I mean, it's massive. It's like a mega church. So I go inside, and it is Woolsey, but it's not Woolsey. It's a Christian church, and it's packed. It's like 500 people. I said dream / nightmare, remember that? how to start service. Who didn't come on time? Who's doing libation? What we going? Hey, this dream/nightmare. So, I mean, sometimes you hear things in dreams, and maybe that was one of those things. So this is today's message. Are we destined to remain a small community of people, arguing, debating amongst ourselves, studying together, unfortunately, and the reality, until the last one of us dies off? Because we have to look at where we are and what we are becoming, because things don't just happen by happenstance. They happen because you let them. And in absent doing something, we create or produce our future. Because for a while, I mean, I really just can't be the youngest person in the room at a few months shy of 48. That was up. At a certain point, individuals, families, even institutions have to pause and assess and have a moment of reflection. And you get a pass when you're young. I remember reading Ebony magazine. I haven't read it in a little while, but they used to always have this profile. They profile the up and coming young black folks. And as a young person, it was always interesting to read it when I was like 18 or 19, think about what I might do, or she's kind of cute, she's in Atlanta, I might want to move to Atlanta. So you see the person who was, 25-year-old sister, she just sees an on-air reporter with WGBT, and some brother who just got an associate professorship, some East Coast college, and they're coming up. But always the context is there's a certain expectation that they're not done. They just got started. And if we just cued into what they've done so far, it's not enough. But we recognize that they're about to blossom. In some respects, you would expect that Ebony would check back in and continue to see if, in fact, they did what they were supposed to have done. So when you're young, you get a pass. When you're 25 or 26 and you're exploring yourself, you're trying to figure out what you're going to do, it's kind of cute. It's kind of cute. But at 40, 48, 40, it's not cute anymore. We got to have some idea, right? At some point, you got to start coloring in the lines and not still be drawing the lines. That's what we got to think about. That's both as individuals and as institution, right? So us as individuals, are we where we're supposed to be? In life, we say it's a journey, but at some point, you got to have a little momentum. You got to be on the road. If I'm going to drive to LA, at some point, I got to get in the car, gassed up, on the road going, and in the right direction. I can't be at the house still packing, still going to Pack and Save, Safeway, grabbing some snack goods for the kids, getting my car repaired, trying to get some money together. Well, where's my map at? Do I have GPS? You heading to Tahoe when I should be going to LA. At some point, you got to be on the road driving, ready to go. So yes, it's a journey, but you got to gear up a little bit. Wose is in his 32nd year, which is kind of young and old at the same time. But the idea that inspired Wose is as old as our people's time in this country. Our Constitution speaks to the development of an African community church people's movement. Don't get focused on the church piece. Movement. More than just us here. Right? That was the vision of Wose. So we have to ask, are we there yet? Here we are, this singular, and you got to say it, we're almost the only African-based spiritual house in the area. And if you just heard that, you would think that we've arrived. To borrow from Dr. King's phrase of having risen to the mountaintop, you would think that we were there because so-called African Americans in Oakland would be flocking to come here, you would think. Because, again, we're the only, pretty much, I mean, if you left here, you just got just upset. I can't stand y'all no more. I'm leaving. I'm going to the other fill in the blank, and it would just be blank. It would be blank. So, but you would imagine that we must have at least 2 services. Because there's so many black folks in Oakland. That's just Oakland. I'm not, in fact, Berkeley and Richmond, San Leandro. She's in Oak, Vallejo. There's a lot of black folks in Vallejo. Yeah. So, what do you think? We got 2 services. Maybe like an evening service. A lot. So if all you were given with the headline, African church still standing after 30 years, only one of its kind, you wouldn't even need to read the article because you know you got to get here early. Right. Parking lot going to be full at 10 o'clock. Right. You get around 10, 15, 3 blocks down the street, down Holly, you see some brothers get out the car with drums in their back, sitting, running, because they got to make the drum call. I can't miss drum call. They going to lock the doors. I gotta go to 12 o'clock service now. That's what you would think. I mean, it makes sense. Some of us have the answer. Some of us here have the answer. If I ask somebody, some of you say, if we tighten up our theology, I would do it. Just, getting closer, just on the fringes. Some might say, our music has gotten better. If we get to slight improvement, that would do it. Or if we had like a full-time minister, because all churches, they have full. If we had that would do it. Or more social functions and social outlets, that might also do it. All right, we have all these answers floating around us. If we would just listen, and if we'd be really honest, we would say, if you would just listen to your idea, if we just did what you think is the answer, we would turn the corner. Because we have the answer individually. But this is not a question it's not a marketing discussion. It's not. It's not a marketing discussion. It's not even a conversation about vision at all. It is, in fact, a conversation about fulfilling our responsibility. See, that's the difference here. Because we got a vision, but are we honoring responsibility? I used to work, I had to work more through school. I worked at one of my jobs, worked at 7-Eleven, and I worked the graveyard shift, 11 to 7 a.m. It was a great plan. I would be at school, leave school at 3, 4 o'clock, go home, crash out, sleep, wake up at 10:30, throw my 7-Eleven apron on shirt, little crazy shirt, jog, because I have a car, jog to 7-Eleven, check in, 10:55, work, 7 o'clock, get out, run back home, grab my books, run back to the bus stop, get on a bus and go to school. It's a great plan. And the manager would come in, the owner would come in around maybe 6:45 before I checked out. And so I might have some ideas for him, about new flavor Slurpee we might have, or some other products he might want to pick up. And if he walked in at 6:45 and I said I had these new ideas, this new vision for 7-Eleven, you get some potato pie in here, some peach cobbler, it would sell, man. It would be hard for him to hear my ideas. The Slurp machine was dirty. The hot dogs had been spinning on that little grill for like 6 hours and it was burned up, and the nacho machine was all jacked up. The cheese was all black and brown. Because his first response would be, can you just do your job? And in the same way for us, it's almost the same thing. Can we just do our job? That's it. So we don't have several services. Instead, we have discussed several ways of pouring libation. We've discussed several ways of naming our place. Church, temple, synagogue, mosque, house up. A lot of different ways we have discussed this thing. Several. But still, we only have just one service. There's all this sideline discussion about the church name, how we should pour libation. Should it be up here, the microphone, without a microphone, plant here, plant over there? How should you do it? These are things we talk about, we discuss. And in truth, none of it is significant. Significance lies only in how we raise disputes, ignoring each other, and never accepting any decisions that we make. We all want to do things our own way. A bunch of folks, we attract a lot of people with great passion, great confidence in their ideas. And we push our ideas. Sometimes we behave, I said sometimes, all the times, like the Lilliputs from Gulliver's Travels. That's a Jonathan Swift, European classic. And so when we sometimes behave like Europeans, we got to use European examples, right? So those that don't remember the story, the Lilliputs had issue on their island, their nation, because some folks wanted to crack the egg from the big side and some folks from the little side. And our man Gulliver, he awoke, came on this island, and he was this giant, and they were trying to get him to go on either one of these sides, and he was trying to figure out, should I favor one side or the other? Should I try to broker peace? What should I try to do? Because he didn't realize what the dispute was about until he finally found out you're arguing about which side of the egg to break. And sometimes the discussions that we have are just like that. They're just like that, unfortunately. We spent an hour in our last community meeting arguing about how many people we needed to open up service. 2 people, 3 people. It's an hour-long discussion we had back and forth. And I was in it too. I ain't blaming nobody. Because I had the idea. All you got to do, I mean, that was me too. It was an hour-long discussion. We didn't have a conclusion at the end. The best we could do was just stop talking. Well, it's 2:30. It's time for us to go. I was in the counseling. We spent a half hour talking about serving coffee. Half an hour. Half an hour. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't have these conversations. The conversations are important. It's just that they shouldn't occupy that much time. It shouldn't take that long. I'm a Tracy. It shouldn't take that long to make a flyer. It just shouldn't. They're important conversations, and they should be had, but for how long? Underneath these discussions, but it highlights the difficulty of building community, which is fundamentally about relationships. That's what community is, about relationships. Just like family, however, though, we don't necessarily choose who we're in community with. And we get all sorts. Y'all got me. I came here in 1995. And none of y'all ask me to come. Not one of y'all. Not one. I didn't even pick my mama. Devon picked my mother. I lucked out, got lucky. I picked my wife. Yeah. I went through a series of interviews. So I came here in 95. My buddy brought me here, and at the time, I resolved I would never join a church. So my wife, dad, never going to join a church, never going to happen. I came here in 95, walked in, go, this is a spot for me. 6 months later, Miss Michael said, hey, the doors of the church are open, and I came up. And y'all still didn't interview me. You know what kind of kook I was at all. You didn't know. And everybody here, I didn't pick none of y'all either. Some of y'all was here when I got here. Some of y'all came after, but I didn't pick one of y'all. But I'm stuck with you. And you stuck with me. It goes both ways. And again, we get all sorts. Some of our people are just great people. And some folks just, you gotta know how to work with them. And we don't have those kinds of skills. We don't. It's just the truth. We trying to get there. We're working on it. It reminds me a little bit in terms of understanding each other. It's like Kunampu and the Eloquent Peasant. As he's challenged, he's and you know the story. I won't repeat the story. If you don't, look it up. We've had class on it. So we should be able to make some references that you just know, right? We shouldn't have to explain everything. If you knew, it's cool. Well, see me afterwards. See somebody else afterwards. But in the story, Kunampu is going through these struggles, and he says civilization, profiling how we got to where we are, but he also provides in there a blueprint to what we need to do to move forward. And the folks at Wose took this plan, if you don't recall that. How many of you remember that? They took this plan. They spent time studying it. He calls for in his book. He calls for the division of economic planning and development. And there's a long piece on that. He calls for division of political action, division of public education, like a school that we have. He calls for division of community services. He calls for division of youth activities, division of Pan-African affairs. It's on page 354. It's right here. Division of intelligence and security. The Commission for Spiritual Life and Assistance is right here. This is not about vision. It's not about marketing. It's about fulfilling our responsibility. There's so much for us to do, but we need to rise above the petty, rise above the small, and invest our energies and our time in reconstructing the greater vision of an African community. If we remind ourselves of that and be about that and recognize in the moment we're having these conversations, am I doing enough to listen? Am I doing enough to reflect the wisdom that I think that I do have? Am I taking time to understand the person talking to me? Because we owe it to each other to be patient with each other, to understand each other, to not make assumptions about each other, and look for the best in each one of us. I should. I was going to ask you to close us up, brother. You can close us up.
Lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening sky. Let it resound loud as the roaring sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won.
For those whose shoulders that we stand on, for those who've been there to guide and direct us, we want to say that we are one people,
One people,
one aim,
one aim,
one destiny,
one destiny,
one God.
one God.
Let us all say in the name that we've been calling on for millenniums. You are
The most beautiful people on the face of this earth.
If there's anyone who wants to step forward and join this movement, we'll say our doors are open. Do that, and then we have.
We want to welcome our first-time visitors. Thank you very much for visiting. We have a visitor's packet for you, and we want to invite you to work with us after every service. visit, we invite you. We share a meal together, so please join us for our meal on the birthday.
All right.
And birthdays.
It's birthday.
My wife's was Wednesday.